I have a win. Yesterday, I employed myself a new coach. How exciting. And so this coach that I have now is helping me understand myself a bit better. Because I know that I'm an unconscious competent. I have known this sort of, like, there's a truth of us. It's not like we learn this stuff and then it's actually coming home. So these principles that we teach in here and that I coach people through is the truth of us and how the universe actually works. So I've always had big ideas and wanted for myself way better than what I have. I've always wanted more. I've been in trouble a lot from it, from people and parents and friends and blah, 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 whatever. Like, I want too much and I need to stop being such a dreamer and all of these things. But what I want to talk to you, because this week we're talking about decisions and risk taking. And so what I started to do, and it was a few years back, I've got a sneeze coming on, that, don't you hate that? Anyway, so I want to talk to you about personal standards, truly, and what they're all about. Now, my new coach is all about personal standards, so I'm loving that because I've been about personal standards for a bit of a while now. I have some standards that I don't drink out of plastic cups, especially champagne and stuff like that. If they give it to me in a plastic cup, I'm like, that's okay, I don't need it. I always went to, and you guys, this is not a snobby thing. If you don't set standards for your life and what you're going to put up with and change the belief in what you're worth, then you can't bring more in. Because I've had people say, oh, you're a 2-bit snob now and you're this now. And I was like, no, it's not that. It's that I've set standards for the life now that I want to live. And I am moving more into ease, but it's also love for myself. When we start to allow lesser in, we drum ourselves down. That's enough. Like, even the dog knows there's a standard. You're not allowed to bark in this office. So these are good things. And so one of my standards is if I'm going to drink champagne, I am going to drink it out of a nice glass. Or, because on a boat sometimes you can't always have glass. I was given that the Husky champagne glass from Christine. That was just beautiful. That's a nice one to drink out of. Or I have acrylic on the boat that you can put the stem under this little bar that we have so they don't fall over. So there's standards of what I'll do. But I went to Alice Springs one day and I was at whichever hotel I was at, and I said, can I please have a glass of champagne? And they said, yes, ma'am. And they went and got a plastic, like a red Solo cup, but clear. I said, hang on a moment, what are you putting that? He said, oh, you're out by the pool. This is what you can have it in. I said, oh, never mind then. And he says, what? I said, never mind. He said, well, you don't want it. I said, no, I only drink out of a glass, or like a really nice glass, not plastic cups like that. Oh, but you're out by the pool. I said, that's okay. I'll go without. And somebody else was with me. He's like, really? You're going to really do without? I said, it's not about just having the drink. It's about the whole experience. And so then when I went to Miami and I was talking to Earlene, so you know about Earlene, I met her when I went to Puerto Rico a few years back, and we just hit it off. And we have standards that align, and we had sort of the same upbringing. She grew up in the cotton fields in Louisiana and was a cotton picking child, and she said, I would pick that bit of extra cotton so that I could buy some of the different clothes out of the magazines, that Mum would have the magazines, so I could get my own clothes. I'm like, oh, I started washing cars for that sort of thing. Like, we sort of both had the same story, so we really connected. And she said to me, because we were on the same flight, and she said, yeah, but what seat are you in? And I said, oh, I'm in number 1K or something. She's like, oh, okay, good. So you have a personal standard to go business class, do you? And I said, yeah, as much as I can. Sometimes I have to go Jetstar, especially if you go to Bali. It's only Jetstar from Darwin. But what sort of standards do you set for yourself? Another one is I do my best. Sometimes it falls in, you're like, hang on, I just like, if we don't have standards, then we'll fall for anything. So I have a standard never to start a negative conversation. Now, there's an old version of me, a really outdated one, that would always start negative conversations. And so sometimes she slips in. It's just like, hang on, sorry. And I do do-overs because that really helps me get back into the truth of me. And the other thing that you have to be willing to do is willing to let go of things. So sometimes your standards demand that you have to let go of things. They can be friends, old friends. They can be sometimes family members. They can be old clothes. I wore a dress yesterday, and although that dress is nice and bright, I said when I was walking yesterday with Craig, I said, okay, this dress, and I've done a lot of Marie Kondo stuff about sparking joy. If it doesn't spark joy, then it shouldn't be in your life anymore, because we should only do and have things that bring joy. And I said, this dress, it's the last time I'm wearing it. It doesn't spark joy anymore. And there's a lot of wearing it. And I always give my clothes away to people that would like to have them, or I give them to places that resell to other people. Recycle, always recycle. Or I give them to sometimes my family that sends them overseas to their family. So that dress doesn't spark joy anymore. It doesn't feel luxury anymore. It doesn't feel like who I am anymore. It's like an outdated version. So I go through my wardrobe quite often and tidy it up and clean it out. I really have to do it at the moment because I picked up my ironing the other day and it's still hanging in the laundry because I don't know where I'm going to fit it. So maybe on Monday when we come back from fishing I can do that. But really start to think about what am I settling for, and what does that say about me? Does it say that I'm like I don't care about who I am, or does it say I am upgrading who I am? Because if we're not upgrading, chances are you're going backwards. And if we start to let in just what everybody else is doing, it's not going to really help us to find who we are. Another thing that I've just done lately is I have always had the Tupperware water bottles, and I'd never really thought about how I could upgrade that. And then I was doing some study, it's part of WorldFit as well, about how much plastic is in the world, and if we can change over. So I sort of upgraded my kitchen drawer with all my like the dishes that I use to put the leftovers and stuff in. So I upgraded that to be all glass to get rid of some of the plastic out of my life. But I was still drinking out of plastic water bottles. So then I went and bought glass ones. So I have 4 of these that I just fill up each morning, and that's my water intake for the day. So that's another personal standard too. Really making sure I'm hydrated and 4 litres of water today and drinking out of a glass bottle. And what I'm learning from my new coach is that is a wealth mindset. Not wealth as in money, but wealth as in the richness of us. And never discount money. Never discount yourself. There's not much you can do these days without money, so you should always be wanting more money and aligning with a more wealthy lifestyle, because if you're not growing, you're disintegrating. So, and it's not a bad thing. It really isn't a bad thing. You should love what money can do, and you should make money your friend and be easy with it and free with it. and loving with it, because it's really a part of you. These are some of the things that I teach when I do Money Magnet, which I think I'm bringing back in maybe July. So if you're in for Money Magnet, put that in the comments. Now, the other part of personal standards is my coaching. I never want to be a run-of-the-mill coach. I want to be that bit extra. I am extraordinary, so I want to create an extraordinary coaching experience for my clients. And how do I do that? I have to keep pushing my boundaries. I have to keep expanding more, doing things a bit differently, changing what I do daily to get better. I had just started today's day 5 of a new morning routine because my last one wasn't really serving me. It's like, okay, I can get better here. Like, my personal standards weren't being met by the routine that I had, so I had to change it. So, and our personal standards, they guide us through life. Like, if I'm going to have a coffee, I want to drink the coffee in a little ceramic cup. Milo, mine's going to work. And I even asked a restaurant once if I could take it home with me, because where I was only had paper. And it's not snobby. It's knowing what you're worth. And this is a lesson that we're doing in Lead the Field at the moment. How much are you worth? And what are you worth letting go of? What in your life is not serving you to keep growing? You know, some people in Wildfit are like, okay, these certain things that I've been doing in my life for the last 20 years or 30 years or 50 years are not really serving me. So I've got to start letting them go. Some people it's alcohol. Other people it's some types of food. Some people it's the relationships that they have with themselves. Because it's all about you and you. There's really 2 versions of you. The truth of you and the truth, the one that you believe you are today. And I know for me, alcohol was something that I used in the past to really squash down feelings that hurt, or that scared me, or challenged me, or demanded that I look at myself differently. So I used alcohol as a crux. I've done the same thing with food. Like, my family are sugar monsters. And like, my mum has 5 teaspoons of sugar in her cup of tea. And my dad loves sugar too. So I come from a family that really indulge in a lot of sugar. So for me, that doesn't help me. It doesn't help me with brain fog. It doesn't help me with being the best that I can be. It doesn't help my memory. It doesn't help a lot of things in my life. So it's not that I've taken it out completely. It's just, it's very limited where it comes in. So your standards show your love for yourself. And the way you treat yourself teaches the world how to treat you. Because everybody that treats, like, has anything to do with you gets their ideas on how to treat you from you, because it's an energy state. So if you truly, truly loved yourself and you believed how much you're worth, what are some of the things that you'd change in your life? Would you be willing to make decisions in a different way? Would you be willing to take different risks? So even changing those standards, and like, I've gone out to tea with people and get the menu and the waiter comes and you say, okay, can I please have this and this and this? And they're like, oh my God, right. Like, why don't you just stay at home and do it? I'm like, so I had to be willing to risk that ridicule and willing to maybe risk losing people that wanted to go out for dinner with me. But it's my body. I will put in it what I want, not what a menu dictates or what others believe that I should be. Because all it showed was, and you know, one of these persons was my husband there for a while, It's like, can't you just get it and just don't put it in your mouth and don't, I'm like, no, I just don't even want it on my plate. And he's the same. So, but the first thing that people do is ridicule if it doesn't align with who they are and in their belief for themselves. And a lot of people care so much about what other people at the table will think, or what the waiter's going to think, or what's the chef going to think. And they have beliefs that the chefs do certain things to your food. Like, what if you got rid of all of those and come from a place like the chef is willing to do to please me because I'm paying? So this is a few ideas, like how clean your house is. Like, I am pretty tidy, but sometimes I have things that build up. So I have a standard that twice a week I just go through and tidy up my spaces. It's once every 5 or 6 weeks I clean out my wardrobes. I have a policy, one in, one out. I haven't really kept to that lately. I've bought a few things and nothing's sort of left, so it's built up, so now I have to do that. Your standards create your reality, and how you treat you determines how the world treats you back, and how other people speak to you is a mirror image of how you speak to yourself. So if you find somebody yelling at you or being negative towards you, how do you treat yourself in the quiet times? How do you speak to yourself? Like, I know sometimes I call myself not some very nice names. You're like, oh, better stop that, Paul. Hello, you're listening. And understanding that it's okay to be different, and it's okay to have standards. I made a standard for myself that I'll always have a coach that helps me understand me and also pushes me out of my comfort zone and allows me the space to grow and holds a place for me up here so that I can move up to it. And that's what I love being for my clients, being able to see them and see the truth of them so that then they can grow into that. So that brings me to MINDSHIFT. MINDSHIFT, the doors close on Monday. So if you are on the fence about coming to MINDSHIFT, or you're like, yeah, I'm going to do it, you don't have much time left. Yes, you might have 5 days, but is that a standard of yours to wait till just before the doors close? Or is your standard like, I decide and do things instantly? How do you make decisions? Do you back them up with action within 30 seconds, or do you take a long time? How efficient are you? That's a personal standard. How effective? How productive? A personal standard of mine is to make decisions within 30 seconds and take action in the 30 seconds again, or within a 24-hour period. Anything over 24 hours, then you actually let circumstances control what you're going to say or do. So 24 hours in my world is a very long time. So 30-second decisions backed up by action in an hour. That's a standard. And if I can't take action in the hour, I send myself a reminder to remind myself, because I'll easily forget. I've got a reminder here somewhere. I already hit it this morning. I put it on. Oh, I've written it over there. But I have reminders. Yeah, here's one. Buy pen inks, because I got a beautiful pen when I was. And there's another thing. Like, what do you write with? Do you just write with anything, or do you have a really nice pen? If you understood that everything that you write will come true, what's the quality of the writing that you do? What do you write with? I send all my clients a really good quality pen so that they can start to really invest in what they're writing, so it feels nice and it travels nice over the paper. What do you do? So there's a bit of thinking for you today. It's not even Thinking Thursday. But updating and upgrading your personal standards should be something that you do on a very, do it quite often. Because if you don't upgrade, The world's moving at a pretty fast pace. You're probably starting to slip back. So I'll leave you with that today. Those of you that have already decided to come to MINDSHIFT, I can't wait to see you there and really help you with some of these things and understanding why sometimes you don't fit into the world around you and the people around you, because you're not supposed to. So enjoy your day. Start to think about, what can I upgrade? Like, how clean is my car? Is my car always clean on the inside? Is there order? In my house, is there order? In my drawers? You saw my spice drawer. That was an upgrade. That was a personal standard to really make it easier to cook. Start upping them. And it's a different frequency. All right. Enjoy. Love you all. Bye-bye.